Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news. The statement by Peter Obi, the former Labour Party presidential candidate in 2023, has continued to gather so much momentum, especially among political watchers, as reactions are just coming in. Now, Arewa has spoken about it, but interestingly, Kenneth Okonkwo today has made a very strong statement about it, revealing the intent of Peter Obi and also the position of things as it has to do with it. Took our time to dive into the constitution, trying to present a position which for most Nigerians they feel it's an ideal one. But then let's allow him, let's listen to him. I'll be back with my colleague to still talk about this issue which has gathered so much momentum among political elites.
For inviting me, and thank you viewers for joining us. First and foremost, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria made it clear. In section 135, subsection 2, and section 180, subsection 2 of the Constitution is very clear. The term of a president or a governor is 4 years. 4 years. The Constitution was direct. He said the president, after spending 4 years in office, vacates his office. At times, politicians behave as if they don't have any job. So when somebody says he's going to spend only 4 years, he simply stated a constitutional provision. But here is just a little addition. The Constitution says you are no longer qualified to contest if you have contested for that position twice in previous elections. And this is by section 137, subsection 1B, and section 187, subsection 1B. So the issue here is this. If you say you want to contest one term, that is your own idea. That is your own opinion. You are entitled to it. In Nigeria and in some African countries where elections are deemed not to be free and fair, that's where you have all these unnecessary arguments. Why did I say that? Even abroad, you're not sure, even when you're an incumbent, whether if you contest, whether you will win. That is where you will know that your term of office is not 8 years, it's not 2 terms, it's 1 term. So it ought not to even be a point of argument. Because even if you are an incumbent, if you recontest, you can fail. The only thing the Constitution says is that if you fail 100 times, if you have not been elected twice, you are still qualified to be governor or president. So for me, I do not see any issue whatsoever, except, like you said, distrust of themselves, and 2, because of the belief that there is no free and fair election. If there is free and fair election, then the issue of 2-term, 8 years would not arise. But here is another issue. Because of our rotational arrangement, which has this proposition of 8 years for South, 8 years for North, politicians now do not want to place themselves in a disadvantaged position, because 4 years having been taken by a Southern politician, if you are a fresh politician and you want to do another 8 years, you will know that you are dead on arrival. So it's a political strategy on its own for you to accede that you will do 4 years. It is not because the politician did not want to do 8 years, no. But he knows that he has only 4 years left from the Southern, remaining term. But here is another issue. By agreeing you will do 1 year, you do 4 years. You have also agreed that if there is any other northern that say you will do also 4 years, then both of you are at the same level of equity, because there would be no injustice either section. So there's nothing wrong in a party, for instance, especially an opposition party that doesn't have an incumbent, saying in order that Nigerians will be free to trust them, that they are going to have a transitional government whereby whoever is going to contest would have to agree to do 1 term. and do not exercise his constitutional rights to recontest, a party can do that. So that whether they present a candidate from the north or from the south, the Nigerians from either section will not feel that they have been betrayed or an injustice meted out to them. For instance, if a northerner wins in another political party and commits to do 4 years, then what it means is that the south and the north has shared for 4 years like they did during the Yaradua Goodluck Jonathan period, and there will be no injustice. So there is nothing, absolutely nothing that ought to raise concerns or arguments. But like you said, you know, a man who kills by the sword does not like people to wave sword at his back. So politicians have made themselves very untrustworthy. So they go the extra mile to prove themselves when they make any proposition.
All right, Mr. Okonkwo, that's noted. A lot of people might have focused on the what in terms of what was said, but you've drawn some focus to the why this move might have been made in terms of the rotational arrangement and being a political strategy. But let's look more, examine the why a bit closer. Do you think there are any personal reasons that might not be overt for this declaration being made by the aspiring president of Nigeria?
No. It's purely a political strategy. There is nothing hidden about it, because every politician would want to complete his 2 terms if he has the opportunity. But of course, if this were 2023, the same politician and presidential candidate or aspirant would not make the same promise. Like I said, as it stands today, a southerner has taken 4 years. So it will be political suicide for you to come and say you want to do 8 years. Nobody will vote for you, not even from south or from the north. So it is purely a political strategy, nothing else. Anybody telling you because he wants to be like Mandela or want to be like this, no, that's not true. But again, the person may want to tell you that just for you to believe he will do 4 years. He may want to tell you that he can still achieve his basic objectives within 4 years. Just to encourage you to know that he is serious in not trying to exercise his constitutional right to recontest election. So there is nothing beyond political strategy. That's what it is.
Welcome back. Kenneth Okonkwo has spoken. My colleague is in the house, and we just want to talk about this. He emphasized that it's just a political gimmick, political strategy, and all of that. That if that's Peter Obi had an opportunity to do 2 terms, why not? That he will do it. So all of this is not for him. It's just political strategy. And he also made Nigerians to understand the fact that whether it is a northerner or a southerner that gets the 1 term is still normal. What's the stand on all of this?
Well, at this rate, I would say in this particular one, Kenneth Okonkwo, I'm standing with him in this one, in the sense that when it comes to the issue of 1 term, it's just strictly personal. You can't decide to do either 1 term or 2 terms. If you have a template and you feel that you can achieve it within 4 years, why not? If not, just like somebody who goes into an exam hall, if you know what you're doing and you know the answers to the question, you do not need to spend the whole 3 hours duration. If you hit the ground running, it's only when you do not know what to answer and you're probably waiting for an expo that you begin to dilly-dally, waiting for the right time for the expo to come. But meanwhile, he said something about a 1 term, 6 years. Everybody have been angling for that 6 years for a long while now. But the question now is, who would push for it? And to some extent, there's an angle he came from that I agree with. If you know you're going to do 1 term, you wouldn't want to be there. Some certain things you will sign 2 years or even a year before your expire, knowing fully well you'll be exiting that seat. You sign a lot of things into it, knowing fully well that you want things to perform, so that they will record it for you that in your tenure you did this, that. So you begin to make Nigerians happy by your 4th year, especially if you have something to give, north or south. And if you make it 6 years single term, that means it will be easier for you to rotate. 6 years, which is 1 term, north has it. 6 years, another term, south has it. It will begin to rotate finer. But when it's 8 years, now it looks as if the south have had it for a long time, or the north have had it for a long time. And when they discover that they still have 4 more years to go after the first one, they want to please the Nigerians, and they wouldn't want to do policies that would dissatisfy them and favor Nigerians. Then food where they will come. And the second time when they're coming, they're not coming really to work for Nigerians. They're not coming now to replenish all their pockets that they used to bribe people and cajole people to vote them into the second term. It has become a thing now that it's almost as if the law says 8 years instead of 4 years. Actually, the law said 4 years.
4 years.
But over time, they made it look as if the law
but
says
they say you
8 years.
cannot you cannot serve more than 2 terms,
which is 8 years.
8 years, yeah.
Now, but because of the way they're not doing it, they're not taking the maximum as the normal.
Yeah.
As if it has always been maximum 8 years, that is the norm. You can do 4 years, there's nothing wrong with it. But the challenge now is, but because they know the second term is determinant on the first, the non-performers who know that they are not performing well would want to use the first term to arrange things so that the second term they will now use it to do whatever they want to do.
Okay, now let's look at the situation of the picture that presidency tried to paint out, the Bayo Onanuga. He talked about Nigeria being a complicated country. He used that word, complicated Nigeria, talking about Bayo Onanuga. And, that brings back memories and memories of some president who had an opportunity of ruling this country. And they were like, when I step in, I'll change the narrative for the country, only for them to come in. And I mean, they spent 8 years. They couldn't do anything visible because of, in quote, that word, complicated Nigeria. Do you think, Peter Obi, if granted that 4 years, with that in mind, complicated Nigeria, do you think he can salvage the country?
I think Bayo Onanuga is trying to be very subtle with words. He doesn't want to be very hard on the words. When he say complicated, he's talking about probably cabals that have existed before their existence, before they came into power. And stepping on some certain things, trying to change certain things, means you're going to step on toes who before now were your good friends, nice political friends. All of a sudden, you want to correct that, that particular sector. You discover that there are some baboons, lions, crocodiles sitting on it in human form, and you touch it, you discover you see their venom.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't want to, because you just know that this is just 8 years. I'm not going to stay here for life. So you find out that you begin to romance it.
Exactly.
Just patch it, manage it till you leave. Whoever comes, it's like a spoiled vehicle. People are just managed, make it just serve its purpose. Let it just serve its purpose. But if you have someone who have not curried favor, who have not collected bribe, he that is down, if fear no fall. The person who is already down, what can you do to him? Someone like Peter Obi, who had grown his business from beginning, he did not bribe his way through. He knows that worst case scenario, you will say to him that, okay, you are not being politically viable. He will put it open. This is it. Nigerians decide. But the truth is, I do not know if Peter Obi have an idea of the level of decadence he's going to see in there. But I can assure you there is decadence.
Yeah. All right. I think that's